Can you imagine being her, waiting for your father to come home and physically abuse you?
And what would you suggest if someone's being physically abused and is not in therapy?
Get help.
Nothing I did was working. The more I tried, the more out of control my eating became. Then, I did something I hadn't tried before. I became a savvy detective and figured things out. If I can do it, so can you. Find out more at solveyouroutofcontroleating.com.
Welcome to Solve Your Out of Control Eating. I'm Victoria Todd, a child and adult psychoanalyst and an eating disorder specialist.
And I'm Michelle Holtzberger, a clinical social worker. But in the virtual world, we are savvy detectives
Who solve real life eating mysteries, like today's.
And we're going to teach you how to become a savvy detective too. So here we go. Step into our virtual office for this brief therapy session. And then stick around afterwards. You'll hear our detective work and practical advice. Now, here's Elizabeth.
I'm so glad I had therapy today. Ever since I stopped purging. Well, I almost said binging and purging, but I still overeat. I just don't purge anymore. Anyway, since I stopped, I'm remembering all these awful memories.
Can you tell me?
I'll try. It's just hard to think about. My dad, he had a horrible temper. He would go to 0 to 100 in 10 seconds flat. And when he had a couple of beers in him, ugh, it was even worse. This was 20 years ago. I guess I forgot about it until now. I thought I was madly in love with my high school boyfriend back then, and we were having sex. I just didn't want to get pregnant, so I got on birth control. I should have been more careful with the pill. I mean, what was I thinking? I took them at bedtime, so I snuck them in my pajamas, which were under my pillow, and my mom found them when she was washing my sheets. Got home from school, where she was waiting with her hands on her hips, and she started screaming the minute she saw me. I got so scared. Not really of her, but that she would tell my dad. So I started begging her, please don't tell dad, please don't tell dad. But she already had. She called him at work to let him know. And then I had to wait for him to get back home and hope he didn't stop for beer.
Sounds both frightening and anxiety provoking.
Yeah, almost like he's gonna kill me, kind of anxiety provoking. That's how scared I was of him.
With good reason.
Yeah. Once he started beating me, he couldn't stop. He was a very large man. My cousins, the kids in the neighborhood, even coworkers, grown men, were scared of him just because of his size. They didn't even know how violent he could get.
You couldn't tell anyone?
Are you kidding? I never tried to do anything to make him angry.
And your mom?
I hated her.
She didn't protect you.
Never. In fact, I think she enjoyed the beatings. She would run to her bedroom and shut the door, as if she was trying to block out the noise. What a bitch. Once I said to her, "You have no idea how hard he hits me." And then she says, "Oh, yes, I do. You ask your mother when we were first married. All the bruises I had all over my back."
So he was abusive to her too.
Yeah, but she probably deserved it.
And what about you, Elizabeth? Did you deserve it?
Sometimes, maybe, but not as bad as what I got. I did bad things, like I made fun of this boy in the neighborhood who was developmentally delayed, and I shoplifted, lied. I was constantly talking back to my mom, who I just hated. So I deserve to be punished, just not as bad as what I got. This one time, I remembered it recently. I had bruises all over my butt and my legs from where he hit me with a belt.
I'm so sorry to hear this. I wonder, why do you think you're remembering it now?
I've been thinking about that. And I wonder if the bulimia somehow got rid of all those old abusive memories.
Can you say more about that?
No, not really.
Well, I had another thought. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Is it possible that the bulimia was the abuse?
Are you saying that when he stopped abusing me, I continued the tradition? Like took over and I was every bit as brutal as he was?
Hmm. You tell me.
Mm, Now that you say it, yes.
Now comes the fun stuff, the detective work. I don't know if fun's the right word to use because Elizabeth's story really impacted me.
I know. Can you imagine being her, waiting for your father to come home and physically abuse you?
That would have been a basket case.
Me too. And it sounds like Elizabeth was. The feelings I heard in the session included tremendous anxiety,
Yes, regarding the physical abuse.
shock at what may have been a premature interpretation on the therapist's part. I think I would have let Elizabeth struggle a little more with the physical abuse bulimia connection. I wonder if the subject made the therapist anxious and she wanted to resolve it quickly. Just a thought. And lastly, the sadness that is expressed in a body way rather than with words.
Right, through her tears.
Correct. Whether the interpretation was premature or not, Elizabeth was right with the therapist. And she surely confirmed her belief that the bulimia was repeating her abusive past. But this time, Elizabeth delivered the blows. She was in control of the physical abuse, and she was also the victim of it. She was playing both parts.
Abuser and victim. Really is fascinating. I hope we have a chance to hear from Elizabeth in the future about her progress and continued insights.
Me too, because this is a very insightful woman who has much to teach us all.
So, what would you suggest if someone's being physically abused and is not in therapy?
Get help.
Right, get help. We definitely do not advocate for anyone to stay in an abusive situation ever. Call the police, get to a domestic shelter, leave the house and get to, stay with a friend. But it's just very important that you don't stay in that situation.
Right. Abuse of any kind and eating disorders go hand in hand. You can talk to a trusted friend. You can journal. But to address your eating problem, whatever it is, the abuse has got to stop.
It does, it does. And that's it for now. But there's more stories like this to come. So be sure to give us a like and share this video and hit the bell so you don't miss a single episode. And remember, keep searching for clues.